In Ashbrook's forgotten depths, the past doesn't rest. It catalogs. What waits beneath isn't just decay, it's arrangement. Bones, stacked like memories. Names, etched in chalk. This is no burial site. It's a museum of the lost. Record of those who wandered too far, and those who never left. Now the group descends deeper into a space that seems to know them, a place where masks remember faces, and the dead are still waiting to be seen. Welcome to the Bone Gallery.
Part 1. Through the cracked door, the group stands at the threshold of a crooked, narrow doorway. The space beyond it is impossibly black, not just empty, aware. Ben lies limp in Kayla's arms. Ilias steadies himself, still recovering. The others remain silent, watching the doorway like it might move. Travis. What is this place? Grant. The air changed. You feel that? Nora. It smells like books. Burned ones. And something else. Elias' blood and rust. They step through the door. It's tight, just wide enough for shoulders. Immediately, the walls shift. Rough stone gives way to cracked wood. The group's footsteps echo strangely. Too many echoes. Like someone else is walking with them. As they move deeper, the walls transition again. From wood to something ivory white. Ribbed, smooth. Kayla, whispering. Is that? She touches the wall. Realization strikes. Kayla, conted. It's bone. The walls are bone. Rib cages, spines. Deliberately arranged. Decorated. Grant Jesus Christ. Nora, it's not random. Look, that's a pattern. She points. Femurs acting. As support beams. Skulls inset like lantern holders. The bones are small, child-sized. They round a corner. A pair of scuffed baby shoes sit in the corner, deliberately placed. Sound, a faint clicking. Not rat-like, lighter, almost delicate. Like tigers tapping on bone. Mason, turning sharply. Did you hear that? Kayla, don't stop walking. Mason twitches. Something brushed his back. He whirls. Nothing there. Mason. Something touched me. I swear to God. Elias lifts the camera. It glitches again, and just for a second. Then stabilizes. Nora, look, she points at the wall. Fresh carvings, not old, not ancient, fresh. Faces, bodies, them. Each member of the group etched into the bone. One figure is already crossed out. Kayla Mason. A cold silence. Mason stares at the crossed out figure. It has his hoodie. His hair. The tunnel begins to open, widening into a chamber. Into chamber. The gallery. It's built like a miniature theater. Cracked stone benches line the walls. A puppet stage stands at the center. Skeletal framework dressed in shredded cloth and teeth. Hanging above it, marionette strings. A child-sized chair sits across from the stage, perfectly centered. Travis, what the hell is this? Kayla scans the area, flashlight beam twitching across the space. Every inch of the walls is lined with scratches, like something clawed its way out, or in. Elias lowers the camera. No one wants to record this. Then, a soft scraping sound. Wood against stone. The child-sized chair turns and slowly sound to face them. Empty, no one sits in it. But then, whispered, low, from the shadows. Voice, whisper. Nora. Nora freezes. Nora, softly. Who said that? No response. The others stare, too afraid to speak. The tunnel behind them, the one they came through, slams shut. Hard, loud, final. Total silence. Then the sound of strings being pulled. Tight wood creaks from the puppet stage. Something is waking. Part 2. The Gallery of Watching Things. The tunnel behind them has slammed shut. Silence hangs thick. The child-sized chair now faces the group. A tense beat. Nothing moves. Then, click. A single overhead light bulb flickers on. No wires, just a bare bulb glowing with harsh yellow light, humming softly. The group flinches at the sudden brightness. Kayla. There's no power down here. Is there? Travis. There shouldn't be anything down here. The puppet stage creaks. Slowly, the crimson curtain pulls open. Grant, tentatively lifting camera. This better not be some twisted museum exhibit. Nothing happens at first. Then, slow jerking movement. A marionette rises from below the stage. Thin strings, bone arms, a face stitched crudely from canvas. It looks like Travis. Another puppet rises. Kayla, then Elias, then Nora, then Grant, then Mason. All of them. The puppets begin to move in perfect silence, reenacting the group's arrival in Ashbrook, pulling up in the van, walking into town, entering the school. Honora. They're copying us. Travis. No, not copying. Watching. Always were. The scene shifts. The puppets begin to act out something new. The group surrounded by faceless children. One puppet gets dragged off stage, twitching. Another bleeds from its mouth. The puppet version of Elias is torn in half. Grant's camera glitches violently. Grant, looking at screen. What the hell? His footage shows figures behind the group, children shaking, faceless. They weren't there a moment ago. Grant, Contidi, there's someone behind you. Turning to check. No one there. Nora steps toward the puppet stage. Something catches her eye. A metal hatch half hidden beneath the boards, almost camouflaged by hundreds of human teeth arranged like gravel. She reaches down. Nora, there's a way out. She touches the hatch. The instant her fingers make contact, every puppet on stage drops at once. Strings snap, bodies collapse. The chair in front of the stage creaks. Kayla stumbles back, clutching her nose. Blood runs freely. Kayla. Whispers, glassy-eyed. Timothy, Caroline, Ezekiel. They're still here. Travis grabs her. Travis, Kayla. Stay with me. Elias shivers violently, hand to his ear. Elias. Something just breathed on me. Right here. Right here. The overhead bulb flickers faster. The light pulses like a heartbeat. The room seems to flex. The walls pulse, subtly, like lungs expanding. Grant, we need to go, now. This place is alive. They crowd around the hatch. Travis pulls. It open. A thin staircase of spiraled iron descends into utter black. One by one, they begin to descend. Kayla still bleeding. Nora still shaking. Elias constantly looking over his shoulder. Just as Travis closes the hatch behind them, the subway child-sized chair rocks. Once. Twice. Then tips forward, as if something stood up. A long silence. Then, soft, countless footsteps. Bare, deliberate, descending. The group freezes, listening. The sound is getting closer. Part 3. Under the stage, where no one plays. A thin, narrow corridor stretches into shadow. Crumbling plaster walls on either side. The group moves in single file, heads ducked low. They speak in hushed tones. Kayla. I don't like this. Something's breathing down here. Travis. It's just the air. Old places creak. Kayla's flashlight flickers. Faint light pulses against the close walls, revealing what looks like smudged, child-sized handprints. Black, uneven, smeared like soot. Nora, those aren't from dust. Look closer. The walls shift subtly in color and texture, a mix of aged plaster and something soft, almost porous, alive-looking. Grant whispers, disturbed. Why are the walls warm? As they move, the corridor grows tighter, the sounds of their breathing, and footfalls grow muffled, like the space is swallowing sound. Elias runs his fingers along the wall. Elias, it's absorbing noise. That's why it feels wrong. It's like it doesn't want anyone to hear us. They pass small alcoves carved into the corridor walls. Each contains decaying objects, toys, shoes, cracked dolls, arranged deliberately. Kayla, softly. I think. They're watching us. Above each alcove is a symbol, unfamiliar, carved deep into the surface. Elias leans in, eyes narrowing. Elias, these match the names Kayla whispered earlier. Timothy, Caroline, Ezekiel. Kayla freezes. Kayla. I didn't remember saying them out loud. A faint tapping begins, like fingernails drumming on wood. Behind them, Nora. Someone's coming. Turns. Wait. The tunnel entrance is gone. No wall, no door, just unbroken darkness behind them. Grant. It was just there. I saw it. We're being moved. Like rats in a maze. They press forward. The corridor splits. One path slopes up into blackness. The other dips downward, its walls lined with tattered red fabric like theater curtains. Travis, we go down. Stay together. No one splits. Agreed? They descend. The walls feel damp. The fabric lining them looks wet like it's sweating. The air thickens. Not stale, but wrong. It hums. A new sound joins them. Footsteps, but they're too small, too light, and they don't echo properly. Kayla whispering. It's following. They reach a rounded chamber at the base of the tunnel. The walls are covered in mirrors. Dozens, maybe more, arranged in a circle. Each mirror reflects something, but not the group. Instead, children. Some crying, some banging on the glass in silence, some smiling. One stares directly at Elias. One bleeds from the eyes. One swings from an invisible noose. Nora. Oh my God. Are these ghosts? Grant, no, worse. They're still here, trapped, watching. Kayla approaches one mirror. A girl in a hospital gown sits on the other side, her head cocked strangely, eyes wide. The girl's movements don't match Kayla's. Kayla lifts her hand, slowly. So does the reflection, slightly behind her pace. Travis, Kayla. Don't. Her fingers inch closer. The reflection reaches too. Eyes suddenly glassy. Then, Kayla's reflection blinks. But Kayla doesn't. Part 4. The Mirror Room. They are in the rounded chamber of mirrors. The air is cold and dry, carrying the faint scent of burned plastic and mold. Kayla, quietly, almost to herself. It's not me. Her hand trembles an inch from the sight. Mirror. The child on the other side stares at her, pale, eyes sunken, blinking at a pace all its own. Its expression warps. First confusion, then sorrow, then hunger. Nora. Kayla, step back. Right now. Travis. She's not. Kayla, come on, it's not real. Kayla doesn't move. The child's head tilts sharply to the left. Then its mouth twitches upward into a crooked smile. It places its palm against the glass, right where Kayla's hand nearly touches. Its skin is translucent, fingers too long. Elias whispers, "That's not her reflection. That's something else." Suddenly, Nora grabs Kayla's arm and yanks her backward. Kayla stumbles, blinking like she's waking. Up from a deep sleep. Kayla, I could hear it breathing, not in the mirror. Inside me. Then, as if on cue, each mirror in the chamber flares to life. The glass becomes cloudy, like frosted windows, then clears, one by one. Each now shows scenes, but not from the group, not from their lives. The mirror to the left displays a grainy, flickering birthday party. A boy with a cone hat alone at a table. No one else in frame. A cake sits untouched. Another mirror shows a dim classroom, desks covered in dust, a girl in the corner facing away, rocking gently. Third reveals a hospital bed, a child hooked up to machines, but there's no one in the room. The child's eyes are open, wide with terror, staring at something just off frame. The group stands silent. The reflections continue to play like home videos stitched from forgotten memories. Grant, these aren't just reflections. They're memories. Other kids, the ones from the beds, from the hallways, from before. Kayla. Some of these look recent. Look, those clothes. That room. Nora. That's not possible. That hospital room. I think I've seen it. Years ago. It's where my cousin was. Before. She doesn't finish the sentence. Her voice falters. Elias, try to film it. We need to document this. He raises his camera. The screen immediately glitches, distorting the image into static and violent tearing. He taps the screen. Nothing. Changes. Elias. Of course, it doesn't want to be seen. Suddenly a loud crack, sharp and jarring, cuts through the silence. The group spins toward the source. One of the mirrors now has a jagged fracture running straight through it. Behind the crack, just barely, visible, is a face. Ben. His face is pale, eyes dull and distant, lips barely parted. He's staring directly out of the mirror, or through it. Kayla. Ben? They rush to the cracked mirror. Nora places both hands on the surface. It's still cold, still solid. Kayla. Ben, can you hear us? Ben doesn't respond. He stands perfectly still. But something's wrong with the way he holds himself. Slack like a puppet whose strings are barely taut. Travis, he's breathing. Look, just barely. Then slowly, a second figure comes into view beside him. It's tall, gaunt. Its limbs are too long. Its head is smooth. No eyes, no mouth. Just a blank oval where a face should be. The faceless figure rests a hand on Ben's shoulder. Nora. No. Kayla lifts her hand to the glass again. The surface this time isn't firm. It flexes inward slightly, like warm wax or stretched skin. Ben's lips begin to move. No sound comes through. Kayla. He's saying something. I can't hear it. Suddenly, all the mirrors go black. Everyone. The light in the chamber dims, casting long shadows that don't move right. The silence is suffocating. Then, one mirror lights up again. It's showing the current chamber from above, as if someone, is watching them from the ceiling. Elias, look up. Slowly, the group tilts their heads. The ceiling appears solid at first, a curve of old stone and mold. Then, a droplet falls, lands on Nora's cheek. Nora wipes it away. It's not water, it's red. Travis, it's bleeding. More drops begin to fall, a steady trickle. The stone overhead begins to shimmer, then writhe. Something's embedded just above them, shifting behind the stone skin. A whisper echoes through the chamber, not from any direction, but from inside each of their heads. Whisper, layered, childlike, and not. He's not the only one. Suddenly, one of the mirrors across the room begins to bulge outward. Slowly, sickeningly. The surface stretching like something behind it is trying to push through. It pulses, breathes. A soft tapping starts, fingernails against glass. Then louder, faster. The lights flicker violently. The chamber trembles. Everything goes black. Part 5. Things that watch mirror room. Continuous, the mirror bulges outward, smooth and glistening like stretched skin. A hairline fracture splits across its surface with a quiet crackle. Kayla, softly, it's coming through. The glass splits fully now, not shattering, but tearing open like flesh. Something wet and featureless begins to squeeze through. Its shape is vaguely human. 2 arms, 2 legs, but too long. The limbs bent at unnatural angles. No eyes, no face. Just a suggestion of a head, smooth and glistening. Its skin drips as it moves. The group backs away in silent terror. No one speaks. Even breath feels dangerous. Travis, go now. Nora, the passage. We came through there. She spins around to the narrow tunnel they'd entered from. It's gone. In its place is a corridor of mirrors, crooked and malformed, leaning inward like ribs in a collapsing lung. No time to argue. They push forward. The cold deepens, a death cold that numbs the teeth and burns the lungs. As they move, the mirrors no longer reflect them. Each one shows flickering glimpses of children. A boy in a hospital gown clutching a stuffed bear. A girl with no eyes, her mouth stitched closed. A toddler curled under a scorched bed frame. None of them speak, but some look straight out of the glass. Grant, low, uneasy. They're watching us. Elias, no, they know us. Kayla stops suddenly in front of one mirror. Her breath fogs the surface. She places her hand on the glass. The image is a little girl in dirty overalls, standing in the ruins of a classroom. Her head tilts as Kayla approaches. Her lips move silently. Kayla. That's her. I saw her carved under the orphanage. The name next to mine. Travis. What name? Kayla. Whispers. Dahlia. They stare at her. Nora. You said that name before. Elias. It was crossed out, right? Next to yours? Kayla doesn't respond. Just stares at the mirror as the girl inside begins to smile. Too wide, lips splitting, teeth too small, too many. A loud bang behind them. The others jump. One of the mirrors, not shattered, but fogged from the inside, as if something is breathing against the glass. A small, pale hand smears across the inside of the mirror, fingers dragging downward slowly. Then, child's voice, scratching. You. Let us burn. Grant screams and smashes the mirror with his flashlight. The glass explodes, but behind it, there's no wall. No structure, only a pulsing surface. Flesh, veined, wet, breathing. Grant, stepping back. What the hell is this place, Travis? Don't stop. Keep moving. The group pushes on. The corridor curves sharply. More mirrors line the way, all flickering. All wrong. Their own reflections are gone now, replaced by strangers. Some just watch. Some move, mimicking nothing. Then, finally, a door. At the very end of the hall, half sunken in warped concrete and mirror shards, stands a rusted door with a scorched plaque above it. Kinderstag, the same twisted metal sign from the orphanage ruins. Nora. It's the same. It's the same door. Elias, how is that possible? We're underground. Kayla. It doesn't matter. It's not about place. Not anymore. The walls start to hum. Low at first, like wind in a tunnel. But it grows deeper, heavier, like a beast breathing in. Then, movement. Dozens of hands begin pressing against the mirror walls around them. Small hands, child-sized, pressing and dragging down the glass from the inside. Some tap, some claw, some simply sit and tremble. No eyes, no mouths, just skin and sound. Grant. Don't stop moving. Get to the door. They reach for the rusted handle. And as they do, the reflections behind them start to pulse in rhythm, like a heartbeat. And from deep within the mirror maze behind them, that same wet, faceless creature starts to follow, its limbs dragging across the glass, every motion wrong. Nora. It's still coming. Travis. Then we don't stop. As they push the door open, the mirrors all go black. The last thing we hear is the chorus of tapping fingers, dozens, maybe hundreds, chasing them. Then the door creaks shut behind them. Part 6. The door with no lock. The corridor of mirrors tightens behind them, the distorted reflections warping with movement. Cracks splinter outward from pale hands pressing through the glass like something inside is desperate to escape. Travis, urgent. Go. Go now. We're not waiting for them to break through. The group gathers at the warped Kinderstag door, its surface slick and melted like it had once been through fire and never cooled properly. The faint outline of children's handprints are visible beneath the distortion. As Kayla reaches for the handleless door, the mirrored corridor behind them groans. Nora, shaking. There's no knob, no lock, nothing. Elias, it's not locked, it never was. The door creaks inward without effort. A wall of warm, acrid air hits. Them immediately. The smell of burning paper, old sweat and metal. What lies beyond is wrong in scale. The chamber is impossibly large, stretching into darkness. The ceiling is lost in black. The air is thick and shimmering, as if heat is rising from a floor made of concrete and rust. Rusted iron-framed beds line the floor in perfect rows. Small, twin-sized. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Each one has threadbare sheets, tucked with surgical precision. At the far end of the room is a blackboard. One sentence is repeated across it, again and again, in rough, childish handwriting. Blackboard text, written over and over. We stayed. Why didn't you? A slow, rhythmic ticking begins. No clock is visible, but the sound is mechanical and steady, unnerving in its insistence. Grant, filming. What is this place? It's like a school or an orphanage, but it's too big. It's too quiet. Kayla, quietly. It's not empty. They walk between the beds. The shadows beneath them writhe subtly. They curl like tendrils or fingers, reacting to their steps. Kayla shudders and steps faster. Nora, spotting a paper pinned to the wall. Wait, over here. She pulls down a charred attendance sheet. The top of it reads, Kinderstag Primary, Class List, Year Unreadable. There are 5 names. Nora, reading. Rebecca M, crossed out. Daniel W, crossed out. Mason C, crossed out. Ben H, crossed out. Nora A. The 5th name, hers, isn't crossed out. But as she stares at it, the ink begins to weep. The name smudges, bleeds across the page. New letters crawl over it in jagged strokes. New text, bleeding onto the page. Welcome back. Nora, recoiling. No, that's not possible. That's not... The shadows under the beds begin to stretch outward now, trailing long tendrils across the floor. Elias lifts his camera again, zooming toward a figure standing still between 2 beds about 50 feet ahead. Elias, quiet. There's someone there, small, not moving. Grant, squinting. Then, they approach carefully, but before they can close the distance, every bed slams against the floor simultaneously. The sound echoes like thunder through the room. The figure vanishes in a blink. Kayla, clutching her throat. I can't breathe. It tastes like smoke, like ash. Travis, there's nothing burning. Kayla, no, it's inside. It's like I'm remembering a fire that hasn't happened yet. She collapses to her knees, gagging, coughing, but there's no smoke in the air. Suddenly, the concrete beneath them begins to crack. Without warning, a jagged split tears across the floor, separating Nora from the rest. She screams as she falls through the opening, swallowed by the darkness below. Travis, shouting, Nora! Elias, she's down there, hold on! But the rift has sealed. Solid ground reforms above her like nothing ever broke. Cut 2, Nora, sub-basement. Nora lies on her back, flashlight blinking weakly in the gloom. The sub-basement is damp and silent. The stone walls are slick, cold, and strangely textured. As she lifts her light, she realizes the texture isn't stone at all. Walls, carved and alive. Dozens, Maybe hundreds of mouths are etched into the walls. Open mouths, some small, some wide, some full of rotting teeth, all silent, but moving. Chorus whisper from mouths, stay, 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 stay. Nora spins, searching for a way out. Her flashlight catches a narrow stairwell at the far side of the room, descending deeper. At the top of the stairwell stands a figure. Nora raises her light and gasps. Nora, no, that's not. It's her. Standing at the bottom of the stairs is a perfect double of Nora. Same hair, same clothes, same cut on the cheek. But something is off. The doppelganger smiles. Too wide. Doppelganger. Soft, same voice. You should have stayed. Nora's flashlight begins to flicker. The mouths on the walls begin to twitch. Chorus, now louder. Stay. 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 The doppelganger raises a hand, pointing down. Nora, backing away. This isn't real, this isn't real. The lights go out.
The darkness behind them doesn't follow. It waits, quiet, still, watching. But Ashbrook doesn't rest, not even beneath all that ash. Something deeper has started to stir. Not the ghosts, not the shadows, but the thing they serve. And in the next chamber, past the rotted doors and the splintered bones, there's something waiting, something whispering. You thought the children were the scariest part? Think again. Click into episode 5. Things that whisper in wood. If you're brave enough. Because the gallery was only the beginning, and what lies ahead doesn't want to be found. It wants to feed.